This is Host Jockeys Unite, the only episodic podcast that strives to not only educate and entertain those in emergency services, but to give an inside peek inside the fire and EMS services to the general public. We are here to leave a legacy for future generations. And now, here are your hosts, Chris Edwards and Jay Gallagher. Hello and welcome back to Host Jockeys Unite. I'm your host, Chris Edwards, and this is my co-host, Jay Gallagher.
What's up, everybody?
And today we're tackling a subject that affects us all, severe weather preparedness. Whether you're a civilian or a first responder, understanding how to effectively prepare for and respond to severe weather events can make a significant difference. We will discuss what a severe weather event is, what you can do as a civilian to safeguard your family and your property from the devastating effects of a severe weather event, as well as talk about how first responders prepare and train to assist the general public during these trying times. But before we jump right in, let's learn a little bit about our hosts. As I mentioned before, my name is Chris Edwards, and I'm the host of the show. I've been in the fire and EMS service about 6 or 7 years now. Started out as a volunteer fireman, and then moved into a career position as a firefighter. And recently, I just switched over to the EMS side of things after I moved into North Carolina as a full-time EMT, and am working on getting my paramedic. So, Jay, tell me a little bit about yourself. When did you begin your career in the fire service?
Many moons ago. Now, all jokes aside, I've about 30 years in the fire service. Started about 1989, between 86 and 89. I started out volunteer, went paid, and we moved back to Alamance County from the coast. But I was volunteer again, rescue squad. I also had paramedic, you name it. And it's just been it was a really rewarding career.
So, Jay, in your fire service career, what positions have you held, and can you explain these positions to our listeners?
I have been everything from your basic grunt firefighter to driver operator, which they drive the apparatus to the scene, and depending on what apparatus you're assigned to, you either operate the aerial ladder, or if you're assigned to the engine company, you operate the pumps, supply water to the crew that's going in. I was lieutenant and captain also. I retired out as a captain. And they are in charge of the crews that go inside. Whether it be engine company or truck company, depending on the function of that particular unit is what you're in charge of doing. For example, a truck is in charge of search and rescue, laddering the building, ventilating the building, forcing entry. Engine company is in charge of getting in water supply, getting the hoses full, going inside, and extinguishing the fire. And, it sounds like it's separated, assignments, which it is, but both companies work together for the positive outcome of the scene.
And these, as a captain, you would follow under the jurisdiction of the battalion chief, correct?
Correct. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, now is the time of the show that we call Ask the Firefighter. This is where you can send us an email or submit a question via our Facebook page. Anything you would like to know about fire or EMS, and we'll answer it right here on the show. Today's submission comes from our Facebook page by Clay Dunn. His question is, what incident stands out in your memory as the most memorable moment you've ever responded to? And please describe this incident. Chris, what you got, buddy?
Well, Clay, the incident that will forever remain in my memory and stands out the most is a vehicle versus bicycle motor vehicle accident that I ran when I first became a volunteer firefighter. To set the scene, the accident occurred on a major 4-lane divided highway. This particular stretch of the highway was in the southbound side and was in a blind curve, which was particularly dark at night. The bicycle rider was traveling southbound and was wearing dark clothing, making him virtually invisible to other motorists. The victim was struck by a large SUV and completely ran over. At the time, a friend of mine and myself were hanging it out when we got dispatched. We responded POV and arrived first on scene to find the victim laying there, pulseless. Due to our department SOPs, the fact that our department did not run medical calls, and I was not an EMT at the time, and that we were POV with no equipment, we started compression-only CPR. We rotated out about every 2 minutes as per normal, and worked the patient for about 15 minutes until the other members of the department arrived with equipment, as well as EMS. When they arrived, I was retasked to traffic control duty since I was a brand new member. I remember that after about 45 minutes, a senior member of the department came up to me and told me the patient died on the scene about 20 minutes after I was reassigned to traffic control. The one thing that will always stick out of my mind is the sound coming from the man as I was doing compressions. It was kind of a squishy, meaty sound coming from the man's abdomen where his internal organs were moving around during compressions after being liquefied by the impact. Another thing that struck me as odd was the fact that there was no external blood coming from the man. It was all massive internal damage. After an investigation, it was determined that the victim was intoxicated and improperly dressed for nighttime conditions. It was discovered that the man ran out in the lane in front of the SUV and the driver could not avoid hitting him. This was indeed a sad night. Jay, how about you? Which incident stands out in your memory as the most memorable moment you've ever responded to? And please describe this incident. I do know of one incident, and I'm not asking you to relive that particular incident. So pick a different one, maybe a funny one.
Okay. Well, any incident I was on that my dad was also on is particularly memorable to me, but this one stands out tenfold. We had just got our new engine, and instead of the rear pre-connects, we had crosslays. I was riding behind the driver. My dad was riding captain, and the call come in like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the middle of the night. And when we left the station, when we rounded the curve coming into town, we could see the glow from it. It was a single wide mobile home. And when Dad told the guy that was riding behind him to catch the hydrant, and he told me when we get up here to pull pre-connect. Alright, no problem. The engine come to a stop. I opened the door. I swung around on the running board, put my arm through the loops of the hose, and tried to pull. Well, as I tried to pull, the hose was abruptly yanked right back up into the hose bed. So I pulled again. And abruptly again, the hose was yanked right back up into the hose bed. And I'm like, what the hell is going on here? So I cinched down real good and I said, you're coming this time. And I snatched that freaking crosslay with everything I had. Long about the time I snatched, I heard a voice from the other side say, "Ah, the hell with it." At this point in time, 250 feet of 1 3/4 hose come off the truck and I fell backwards, landed on my back, and here I am with my air pack on. I'm rolling around like a turtle with 250 feet of hose all over me, and I'm trying to dig my way out. And here comes my dad around the front of the engine, looked at me, kind of holds his hands out, and he goes, "What the hell are you doing?" Well, I looked at him and I said, "I'm covered in spaghetti. Get me out of here." Well, he digs me out of all the hose, and I start knocking the fire down. It had already melted the aluminum on the front, so I was just hitting it from there. And about that time, the town police officers come around there and told us that there was a propane tank in the back, that the fire was blowing out the window and hitting the propane tank. Well, by that time, the second due engine had gotten there, and they had went ahead and they were pulling the hose. Well, since I had the charge line, Dad told me to go around to the back and cool the propane tank. Well, I'd throw the hose over my shoulder, and I'm running around to the back, doing my best Johnny Gage impersonation, Hey, look at me, I'm big time fireman. And I didn't see the clothesline, and the clothesline proceeded to catch me literally right across the throat. And I know y'all seen on cartoons where like Tom and Jerry, something like that happened to Tom, and it cuts him a flip and he lands on his back. Well, folks, that really does happen because it happened to me. And I'm laying there and trying to catch my breath, and my dad comes around the back of the trailer, unfortunately, and looks at him and says, "Now what in the hell are you doing?" And all I could go is, eh, eh, and point to the clothesline. I couldn't talk. Well, the following ladies' night, everybody got, something funny happened on the fire scene. You got a gag gift. Well, my gag gift for this particular incident was a clothesline, a pack of clothespins, and something that I will never mention in public, but it was kind of embarrassing. Well, I'll go ahead and tell you, I got a pack of underwear to hang up on the clothesline. So that was my that was my most memorable. But like I said, anything with my dad, you know, it's a special place in my heart.
So there you have it, Clay. We would like to thank you for your submission to the show. If you have a question about the fire or EMS service that you'd like answered on the show, or if you would like to learn how to become a volunteer firefighter, please email us at firefighter274@outlook.com.
Severe weather can strike at any time, and it's important that everyone is prepared to face the challenges that come with it, whether you are a civilian or a first responder. Knowing how to stay safe and minimize damage is crucial. Understanding severe weather. Now, to start off with, let's set the stage by discussing the different types of severe weather that civilians and the first responders may encounter. Chris, could you give us some insight and overview on this?
Certainly. Severe weather can encompass a wide range of conditions such as hurricane, tornado, floods, wildfires, and more. It's crucial to be aware of the potential hazards in your area and understand how they may affect you. Here are some of the most common types and their characteristics. Thunderstorms. Thunderstorms are characterized by lightning, thunder, heavy rain, and sometimes hail. They can produce strong winds, flash flooding, and tornadoes. Lightning poses a significant risk, and flash floods can be deadly due to swift moving water. Tornadoes are powerful, rotating columns of air that extend from a thunderstorm cloud to the ground. They can cause widespread destruction, with high winds capable of demolishing buildings and causing significant injuries or fatalities. Next is hurricanes. Hurricanes are large, rotating storms that form over warm ocean waters. They bring intense rainfall, storm surge, which is a coastal flooding phenomenon, and strong winds. These can cause severe damage to infrastructure and pose risk to life and property. Winter storms encompass a wide range of hazardous weather conditions, including snowstorms, blizzards, and ice storms. These storms can result in heavy snow accumulation, reduced visibility, dangerous road conditions, power outages, and cold-related illnesses. Heat waves are prolonged periods of excessively hot weather, often accompanied by high humidity. They can lead to heat exhaustion, heat stroke, and dehydration, especially in vulnerable populations. Heat waves can also contribute to wildfires. Floods occur when an area becomes inundated with water. They can be caused by heavy rainfall, the overflow of rivers or lakes, or failure of dams or levees. Floods pose risk to life as well as causing damage to property, infrastructure, and environment. Wildfires. Wildfires are uncontrolled fires that spread rapidly through vegetation in forests, grasslands, and other wilderness areas. They are often fueled by dry conditions, high temperatures, and strong winds. Wildfires can cause extensive damage, destroy homes, and endanger lives. Severe winter weather. Severe winter weather conditions can include extreme cold, blizzard, freezing, rain, and ice storms. These conditions can result in dangerous travel conditions, power outages, and include risk of frostbite and hypothermia. Dust storms. Dust storms are also known as haboobs, are massive dust clouds carried by strong winds. They occur in arid or desert regions and can significantly reduce visibility, leading to hazardous driving conditions and respiratory issues. And last but not least is severe thunderstorm outbreaks. Severe thunderstorm outbreaks involve the rapid development of multiple severe thunderstorms in a specific area. These outbreaks can produce widespread damaging winds, large hail, and tornadoes, posing a significant threat to life and property. When encountering any severe weather, it is important for both civilians and first responders to stay informed. Follow official warnings and instructions, seek shelter if necessary, and take appropriate safety precautions to minimize the risk and ensure personal well-being.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, Chris, could you tell us, give us some insight onto how severe weather could impact civilians and why preparedness is so vital?
Of course, severe weather can have significant impacts on civilians, posing various risks to their safety, well-being, and overall livelihoods. Here are some insights into how weather affects civilians and why preparedness is crucial. Physical safety. Severe weather events such as hurricanes, tornadoes, floods, and wildfires can cause direct physical harm to individuals. High winds, heavy rainfall, lightning, and falling debris can lead to injuries or even the loss of life. Preparedness measures like having emergency plans, shelters, and evacuation routes can help mitigate these risks. Property damage. Severe weather can cause extensive property damage to homes, infrastructure, and personal property. Floodwaters can destroy buildings, strong winds can tear off roofs, and hailstorms can damage vehicles. Being prepared by securing structures, having insurance coverage, and maintaining emergency supplies can help maintain property damage and aid in recovery. Disruption of services. Severe weather events often disrupt essential services such as power, water, transportation, and communication systems. Power outages can hinder access to electricity, heating, and cooling, while damaged roads and bridges make it difficult for emergency services to reach affected areas. Having backup supplies, alternative communication methods, and knowing how to access emergency services can improve resilience during such disruptions. Health risks. Severe weather can also lead to health risks for civilians. Extreme heat waves can cause heat stroke or heat exhaustion, while cold spells can result in hypothermia. Flooding can contaminate water sources, leading to the spread of waterborne diseases. Preparedness involves understanding potential health risks, having necessary medications, and knowing how to access medical assistance during emergencies. The economic impact. Severe weather events can have long-lasting economic consequences for communities and individuals. Damage to infrastructure, loss of crops, business disruptions, and increased insurance costs can strain local economies and impact livelihoods. Preparedness efforts such as maintaining emergency savings, having insurance coverage, and diversifying economic activities can help mitigate these economic impacts. And before I move on to the next one, I wanted to speak on the economic impact. If you think back, Hurricane Katrina was what, Jay, 22 years ago?
22, yeah.
At one point, New Orleans was considering, after Hurricane Katrina, was considering just shutting down the city completely, abandoning it, but due to the economic impact, but they decided not to. 20-some years later, Katrina is still not back to the way, New Orleans is not to the city that it was before Katrina, and it's probably never ever going to be the same as it was before.
Well, didn't they have another big hurricane come right up after Katrina that kind of put the double whammy on them?
I don't remember, to be honest with you.
I think it was Rita or something like that. I can't remember for sure.
Probably. But, and we were talking about this in my ICS 300 class this week, as far as Katrina goes, and the economic impact and the recovery phase of it. It's still in recovery phase, and this is 20-some years later, so, technically they've still got to an incident going on 20 years later.
Yeah.
And, you know, all best guesses is that the city's never ever going to recover completely from Katrina.
Yeah.
So the last one in this category is psychological effects. Experiencing severe weather events can also have psychological impacts on civilians. The stress, anxiety, and trauma resulting from witnessing or being directly affected by such events can have long-term psychological effects. Preparedness involves not only physical measures, but also mental and emotional preparedness, such as understanding coping strategies, seeking support, and promoting community resilience. Given these potential impacts, preparedness is vital for several reasons. Number one, safety and survival. Preparedness measures increase the likelihood of survival during severe weather impacts. Having emergency plans, evacuation routes, and access to necessary supplies can save lives. Number two, reduce damage and losses. Preparedness helps minimize property damage and financial losses by taking preventative measures, securing structures, and having appropriate insurance coverage. The third one on the list is faster recovery. Being prepared enables individuals and communities to recover more quickly after a severe weather event. Having emergency supplies, knowing how to access assistance, and participating in recovery efforts can speed up the recovery process. Number four, enhance community resilience. Preparedness fosters community cohesion and resilience. When individuals, neighborhoods, and organizations work together, they can support one another during and after a severe weather event, leading to a stronger and more resilient community. Number five, adaptation to climate change. With the increasing frequency and intensity of severe weather events linked to climate change, preparedness becomes even more critical. Adapting to changing weather patterns and understanding local risks can help communities better cope with future challenges. Civilians need to be prepared to protect themselves, their families, and their property. First responders, on the other hand, play a crucial role in ensuring public safety during such events. Their preparedness and quick response can save lives. Preparedness strategies for civilians.
Okay, folks, let's delve into the strategies for civilians to prepare themselves for severe weather. So, Chris, what are some of the essential steps individuals need to take?
To start, everyone should have an emergency kit stocked with essentials like water, non-perishable food, medications, flashlights, and a battery-powered radio. Preferably one that can pick up weather bands as well. It's also crucial to create a family emergency plan, designate safe spaces in your home. It's also important to stay informed about weather by monitoring local news and weather reports. If a severe weather event is forecasted, make sure to secure any loose objects outside and seek shelter in a safe place, like a basement or storm shelter.
All right, brother, that's great advice. So, what advice would you give to civilians regarding their interaction with emergency services during severe weather events?
Communication is key. Civilians should follow local authorities' instructions and only call emergency services for life-threatening situations. Keeping the lines clear allows first responders to address urgent needs promptly. Additionally, establishing neighborhood networks or participating in community programs can enhance preparedness efforts.
All right, now let's kind of shift gears here a little bit, folks, and let's talk about kind of focus on the first responders. What specialized training and equipment are necessary to effectively respond to a severe weather event? Chris, you want to shed a little bit of light on that?
Sure. To effectively respond to severe weather events, specialized training and equipment are crucial for ensuring the safety of responders and the public. Here are some key elements of training and equipment needed. So, specialized training. Meteorological knowledge is a good thing to have. Understanding weather patterns, storm development, and the interpretation of weather data are fundamental for effective response. Emergency management. Training in emergency response protocols, incident command systems, and coordination with other agencies is vital. Hazard identification. Recognizing the different types of severe weather hazards such as tornadoes, hurricanes, floods, blizzards, and thunderstorms, and understanding their characteristics. Risk assessment. Assessing the potential impact of severe weather on events on infrastructure, public safety, and critical facilities. Communication and public awareness. Training in effective communication strategies, public warning systems, and community outreach to disseminate weather alerts and safety information. Search and rescue. Techniques for locating and rescuing individuals affected by severe weather, including swift water rescue, high angle rescue, and confined space rescue. First aid and medical training. Basic first aid skills and medical training to provide initial assistance and triage in emergency situations. Now we're going to talk about equipment. Weather monitoring and prediction tools. Sophisticated weather monitoring instruments such as weather radars, satellite imagery, and meteorological sensors to track and predict severe weather patterns.
Now, I want to interject one small thing here on this one.
Sure.
Folks, if you don't have one, you can go to Walmart and they have weather radios. They both work on wall plug-in and battery backup in case you lose power. You can program it for your county where you live and the counties around you, so you can kind of get an idea of what the storm's doing as it progresses. They're great radios. I have two of my own, and they work great. Whenever there's a watch or a warning, they'll go off and give you all the information you need, predicted time frames and whatnot. So for $20, it's, well worth the money.
Okay, moving on to communication systems. Reliable communication devices, including two-way radios, satellite phones, and internet connectivity to maintain contact between response teams and command centers. Personal protective equipment, or PPE. Protective gear like helmets, goggles, gloves, high visibility vests, and sturdy footwear to ensure responder safety during severe weather conditions. Emergency vehicles. Specialized vehicles such as ambulances, fire trucks, search and rescue vehicles, and boats equipped with necessary tools and equipment for responding to specific weather-related emergencies. Emergency power and lighting. Generators and portable lighting equipment to ensure continuous power supply and visibility during power outages caused by severe weather events. Debris removal and clearing equipment. Chainsaws, bulldozers, and heavy equipment to remove fallen trees, clear debris, and restore access to affected areas. Emergency medical supplies. Medical kits, stretchers, medical oxygen, and other essential supplies for immediate medical care and treatment. It is important to note that specific training and equipment required may vary based on the type and severity of weather event and the jurisdiction in which the response is taking place. Local authorities and emergency management agencies often tailor their training and equipment to address the specific challenges and risks posed by severe weather in their region.
Okay, folks, so it's clear that comprehensive training and proper resources are vital for first responders. Now, Chris, what steps can communities take to support their local first responders during severe weather events?
Sure. So during severe weather events, communities can take several steps to support their local first responders. Here are some ways they can contribute. Establish a community emergency response team, or CERT team. Communities can create CERT programs where volunteers receive training in basic disaster response skills. These volunteers can assist first responders during severe weather events by providing immediate assistance, conducting damage assessments, and supporting evacuation or sheltering efforts. Provide timely and accurate information. Local communities should establish reliable communication channels to disseminate timely and accurate information about severe weather events. This could include utilizing emergency alert systems, social media platforms, community websites, or local radio stations. Ensuring that residents are well informed helps reduce panic, enables proper preparedness, and allows first responders to focus on critical tasks. Develop emergency preparedness plans. Communities should develop and regularly update their emergency preparedness plans in collaboration with first responders. These plans should address specific challenges posed by severe weather events, such as hurricanes, tornadoes, floods, or wildfires. It is crucial to involve local first responders in the planning process to leverage their expertise and ensure effective coordination during emergencies. Conduct community drills and exercises. Regularly conducting drills and exercises can help communities and first responders prepare for severe weather events. These drills can simulate emergency scenarios and test the response capabilities of both first responders and the residents. The exercises can include activities such as mock evacuations, shelter-in-place procedures, search and rescue operations, and or medical response simulations. Support first responder training and resources. Communities can allocate resources to support the training and professional development of local first responders. This can include funding for specialized training work in severe weather response, providing access to updated equipment and technology, and facilitating workshops or seminars to enhance their knowledge and skills. Establishing neighborhood watch programs. Neighborhood watch programs encourage residents to be vigilant and report any suspicious activities during severe weather events. This can help free up first responders' time by reducing the need for them to address non-emergency concerns. Additionally, these programs can foster a sense of community and collaboration, enhancing the overall safety and preparedness. Volunteer and donate. Community members can offer their time and resources to support local first responders during severe weather events. This can involve volunteering at emergency shelters, assisting with logistical support, providing food or water for responders, or donating necessary supplies like blankets, clothing, or hygiene items. Practice personal preparedness. Individual preparedness is crucial during severe weather events. Communities should encourage residents to create emergency supply kits, develop family communication plans, and stay informed about local emergency procedures. By being self-sufficient in the immediate aftermath of a severe weather event, residents can alleviate some of the burden on first responders. Remember, it is important to coordinate and collaborate with local authorities and first responders to ensure that any support provided aligns with their needs and requirements. Building resilient communities.
All right, folks. Chris, let's discuss the importance of building a resilient community in the face of severe weather. So, Chris, what does resilience mean in this context?
Well, resilience in the context of building communities to withstand severe weather refers to the ability of a community to prepare for, to respond to, and to recover from impacts of such events. It involves the capacity of individuals, organizations, and systems within the community to anticipate, absorb, adapt to, and quickly recover from the shocks and stresses caused by severe weather events like hurricanes, floods, wildfires, or extreme heat waves. Resilient communities recognize the potential risk associated with severe weather and take proactive measures to minimize vulnerabilities and enhance their ability to bounce back. This includes developing robust infrastructure, implementing effective disaster preparedness and response plans, fostering social cohesion and community engagement, and integrating sustainable and adaptive practices into their development strategies. Building resilience requires collaboration among various stakeholders, including government agencies, community organizations, businesses, and residents. By investing in resilience, communities can reduce the impact of severe weather events, protect lives and property, and ensure the continuity of essential services, thus enhancing their overall sustainability and well-being.
All right. All right, let's we got a few questions here. For this up for discussion. So, how can technology and innovation play a role in enhancing emergency preparedness for civilians and first responders?
Well, Jay, technology and innovation can play a crucial role in enhancing emergency preparedness for both civilians and first responders. Here are several ways in which technology and innovation can make a positive impact. Early warning systems. Advanced sensor technologies and data analysis techniques can help in the early detection of natural disasters such as earthquakes, hurricanes, and floods. By providing timely warnings, people can take necessary precautions and evacuate the affected areas, reducing the potential for reducing the potential loss of life and property. Communication and coordination. Modern communication tools such as mobile devices, social media platforms, and dedicated emergency apps can facilitate real-time communication and coordination among civilians and first responders during emergencies. These technologies enable the dissemination of crucial information, coordination of response efforts, and efficient allocation of resources. Remote monitoring and sensing. Innovations like drones, satellites, and remote sensing technologies allow for real-time monitoring of the disaster-affected areas. This information helps first responders assess the situation, identify areas of immediate concern, and plan the response accordingly. For example, drones can be used for rapid damage assessment or search and rescue operations. The Internet of Things, or IoT. IoT devices can be deployed in emergency situations to collect data, monitor conditions, and provide valuable insights. For instance, wearable sensors can track vital signs and locations of first responders, ensuring their safety and enabling swift intervention if needed. IoT can also be used for smart infrastructure monitoring, detecting structural weaknesses or gas leaks, enhancing safety for both responders and civilians. Predictive analytics. Advanced data analytics techniques can be employed to process large amounts of data generated during emergencies. By analyzing historical data, weather patterns, social media feeds, and other relevant sources, predictive analytics can help identify high-risk areas, anticipate resource needs, and optimize response strategies. Virtual and augmented reality. Virtual and augmented reality technologies can simulate emergency scenarios, providing a realistic training experiences for both civilians and first responder. These simulations can enhance preparedness, decision-making, and response effectiveness, enabling individuals to practice emergency procedures in a controlled environment. Robotic assistance. Robots equipped with sensors and cameras can be deployed in hazardous or inaccessible areas, assisting first responders in search and rescue operations. These robots can navigate through debris, detect survivors, or deliver essential supplies, minimizing the risk to human responders. Big data and artificial intelligence. Big data analytics and artificial intelligence can help extract meaningful insights from vast amounts of information. This can enable improved resource allocation, identification of identification of patterns in emergencies, and optimizing of response strategies. AI-powered chatbots can also improve immediate assistance, answering common queries and directing people to appropriate resources during crises. Technology and innovation have the potential to significantly enhance emergency service preparedness for both civilians and first responders. By leveraging these advancements, we can improve early warning systems, communication networks, monitoring capabilities, predictive analytics, training simulations, robotic assistance, and data-driven decision-making, ultimately saving lives and mitigating the impact of disasters.
All right. Now, what are the key challenges that first responders face when dealing with weather-related emergencies, and what improvements can be made to better support their efforts? Since first responders face several key challenges when dealing with weather-related emergencies, these challenges probably can vary depending on the specific nature and severity of the weather event. Chris, what do you think on that?
Well, here are some common ones. Limited information and forecasting. Weather events can be very unpredictable, making it challenging for first responders to gather accurate and timely information about the event's intensity, trajectory, and potential impacts. Improvements in weather forecasting systems, including advanced modeling techniques and real-time data collection, can provide first responders with more accurate and detailed information to aid in decision-making. Communication and coordination. During severe weather events, communication systems may be disrupted, overloaded, or inaccessible, making it difficult for first responders to coordinate their efforts effectively. Enhancements to communication infrastructure, such as dedicated emergency communication networks or resilient satellite-based systems, can improve the reliability and availability of communication channels for first responders. Evacuation and rescue operations. Weather-related emergencies often require swift evacuations and rescue operations to protect vulnerable populations. However, factors like limited time, difficult terrain, and hazardous weather conditions can help hinder these efforts. Enhanced training programs, specialized equipment, and increased resources dedicated to swift and safe evacuation and resource and rescue operations can better support first responders in these situations. Personal safety and well-being. First responders are exposed to significant risks when dealing with weather-related emergencies, including extreme weather conditions, structural damage, and potential health hazards. Investing in advanced personal protective equipment, providing adequate rest and recovery facilities, and implementing mental health support programs can help ensure the safety and well-being of first responders during and after these events. Resource management. Weather-related emergencies can quickly deplete resources such as emergency supplies, medical equipment, and personnel. Improving resource management systems, including efficient logistics planning, stockpiling of essential supplies, and coordination among multiple agencies, can help ensure the availability of proper allocation of resources during emergencies. Community awareness and preparedness. The lack of awareness and preparedness among the general public can create additional challenges for first responders during weather-related emergencies. Enhancing community education and outreach programs, promoting emergency preparedness initiatives, and leveraging technology such as mobile apps and social media for effective public communication can help mitigate these challenges and empower communities to better respond to weather-related emergencies. Overall, by investing in improved technology, communication systems, training, resource management, and community engagement, we can better support the efforts of our first responders in dealing with weather-related emergencies. Collaboration among government agencies, meteorological organizations, and local communities is crucial to address these challenges and ensure a more effective response for future weather events.
Okay, now, what are some of the common misconceptions about emergency preparedness among civilians and the first responders, and how can we address them to improve overall readiness?
There are several misconceptions about emergency preparedness among civilians and first responders. Addressing these misconceptions is crucial for improving overall readiness. Here are some of the misconceptions and strategies to address them. First misconception: emergencies only happen to other people. To address that, we emphasize the importance of preparedness for everyone. Promote awareness campaigns that highlight real-life stories and experiences of individuals who have faced these emergencies. Encourage people to recognize that emergencies can happen to anyone, and preparedness is essential for everyone's safety.
Folks, this kind of adding on to that a little bit. General rule of thumb to think it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So it's going to happen. It's just time and place hadn't been named yet. Go ahead, Chris.
Okay, yeah, I can agree with that. The next misconception is that emergency services will be immediately available to handle all situations. To address that, educate the public and first responders about the potential limitations of emergency services during large-scale emergencies. Encourage individuals to be self-reliant for at least 72 hours by having essential supplies such as food, water, medications, and first aid kits. Promote the development of community emergency response teams, or CERTs, to enhance local response capabilities. The next misconception is first responders are always fully prepared and knowledgeable about all types of emergencies. That's false. Addressing this misconception by provide training and education programs to first responders to enhance their knowledge and skills in various emergency scenarios. Promote ongoing professional development opportunities and encourage cross-training among different emergency response disciplines. Encourage first responders to actively engage with the community and to understand its unique needs and challenges. Keeping in mind that every community is going to have different needs and may possibly have different challenges. Our next misconception is that emergency preparedness is expensive and time consuming. To address that, educate the public about the broad range of emergencies that can occur, including natural disasters, technological accidents, disease outbreaks, and acts of terrorism. Emphasize the importance of preparedness for all types of emergencies. Provide resources and guidance on specific preparedness actions for different hazards to ensure comprehensive readiness. The next misconception, which in these days is a very big one, is that social media is a reliable source of emergency information. To address that, promote the importance of verifying all information from official sources during emergencies. Encourage individuals to follow trusted government agencies, emergency management organizations, and local authorities on social media platforms. Emphasize the need to cross-reference the information and be cautious of spreading unverified or false information that can lead to panic or confusion. Jay, do you have any input on that one?
Oh yeah. When we were living on the coast, we could start out with a little spot of rain off of the coast, and by the end of the day, if you go by what Facebook says, it's going to be a Category 5 hurricane knocking on our back door the next morning. Always rely on a reliable source of information. Local news, local weather. Don't go by social media.
And don't really even go by what you see on YouTube either.
Yeah, and YouTube is what now there are I can't say that because there are some guys that give weather forecasts that are credible, and I would go with what they would say if they were in my area. For instance, the guy that you and I watch, Ryan Hall. If we lived in Kentucky, close to him in Kentucky, shoot, yeah, I'd go with what he says. But then again, he does it for the whole entire country for severe weather outbreaks. So I would have no trouble going by what he says.
Okay, so the next misconception, preparedness planning is an individual effort. To address that, we need to encourage collaboration and community involvement in preparedness efforts. Promote the formation of neighborhood and emergency preparedness groups and associations. Foster partnerships between community organizations, businesses, schools, and local government agencies to develop coordinated emergency plans and enhance overall community resilience. By addressing all the above misconceptions through targeted education, training, and community engagement, we can improve overall readiness among both civilian and first responders. It is important to emphasize that preparedness is a shared responsibility and that everyone has a role to play in ensuring the safety and resilience of their communities.
Now, in what ways can emergency responders work more closely with the communities that they serve to ensure effective response and recovery efforts in times of crisis?
Well, to ensure effective response and recovery efforts in these times of crisis, emergency responders can work more closely with the communities they serve in several ways. You have community engagement. Establishing strong relationships with community members and organizations before a crisis occurs is crucial. Regularly engaging with the community through town hall meetings, neighborhood associations, and local events helps build trust and rapport. This allows emergency responders to better understand community needs, concerns, and resources. You have education and training. Conducting community outreach programs and training sessions on emergency preparedness can empower individuals to take an active role in their own safety. By teaching community members basic first aid and CPR and disaster response skills, responders can enhance overall community resilience by reducing the burden on emergency services during a crisis. Communication and information sharing is another one. Open lines of communication are vital for effective response. Emergency responders should establish multiple channels to disseminate information to the community, such as social media, websites, and mobile applications. They should also actively listen to community feedback and address concerns promptly. Providing regular updates during and after a crisis helps manage expectations and reduces anxiety. Community-based planning. Engaging community members in the emergency planning process allows responders to tap into local knowledge and resources. Involving community leaders, organizations, and individuals in the development of emergency response plans ensures that they reflect the unique needs and characteristics of the community. It also fosters a sense of ownership and responsibility, encouraging active participation in response and recovery efforts. And again, here we go back to volunteer programs. Establishing volunteer programs such as community emergency response teams allows community members to play an active role in supporting emergency responders. Volunteers can assist with non-emergency tasks such as administrative work, logistics, and community outreach, freeing up responders to focus on critical operations during a crisis. Cultural competence. Recognizing and respecting the cultural diversity within a community is essential for effective response. Emergency responders should undergo cultural competency training to better understand the unique needs, values, and beliefs of different groups. By tailoring their response strategies to be inclusive and culturally sensitive, responders can build trust and ensure that everyone receives the assistance they require. And this next one I think is very important. It's after-action reviews. Conducting post-incident assessments and involving community members in the evaluation process helps identify areas for improvement. Community input can provide valuable insight into the effectiveness of response efforts and help emergency responders refine their strategies for future crises. By implementing these strategies, emergency responders can foster a collaborative and mutually supportive relationship with the communities they serve, leading to more effective response and recovery efforts in times of crisis.
Okay, now, what are some of the commonly overlooked aspects of emergency preparedness that civilians should be well aware of, and how can we raise awareness about these critical elements?
Emergency preparedness is crucial for individuals and communities to effectively respond to and recover from various crises. While many people are familiar with basic preparedness measures like creating emergency kits and developing evacuation plans, there are several commonly overlooked aspects that deserve attention. Here are some of the often neglected elements of emergency preparedness. Communication plans. Establishing clear communication channels within families, neighborhoods, and communities is essential during emergencies. People often overlook the need for backup communication methods when primary means such as cell phones become unreliable. Encouraging the use of walkie-talkies, satellite phones, ham radio operators, or designated meeting points can help bridge communication gaps. Special needs considerations. Certain individuals, such as the elderly, people with disabilities, or those with chronic medical conditions, have specific needs during emergency. These requirements may include accessible transportation, medical equipment, medications, or support services. Raising awareness about the importance of addressing these unique needs within emergency plans and preparedness resources is crucial. Psychological preparedness. Emergency situations can cause significant stress, fear, and anxiety. People often overlook the importance of mental and emotional preparedness. Awareness should be raised about the need for self-care, stress management techniques, and the availability of mental health support services before, during, and after emergencies. Financial readiness. Disasters can have a profound effect on personal finances. Many individuals fail to consider the financial aspect of emergency preparedness. Encouraging the creation of emergency savings, understanding insurance policies, and knowing how to access financial assistance programs can help individuals mitigate the long-term consequences of emergencies. Community involvement. Building strong and resilient communities is vital for effective emergency response and recovery. People often overlook the significance of community engagement and collaboration. Encouraging individuals to participate in neighborhood watch programs, volunteer organizations, or local emergency response teams can enhance overall preparedness and response capabilities. Raising an awareness about these critical elements of emergency preparedness can be achieved through various means. Public education campaigns. Governments, community organizations, and the emergency management agencies can launch campaigns that emphasize the importance of these overlooked aspects. This can include distributing informative brochures, organizing workshops or seminars, and leveraging social media platforms. Training programs. Offering training sessions or workshops that specifically address these overlooked aspects of preparedness can help individuals acquire the necessary knowledge and skills. These sessions can be conducted by emergency management professionals or experts in relevant fields. Collaborations and partnerships. Forming partnerships with local organizations, schools, businesses, and community leaders can amplify the message and reach a broader audience. Collaboration can also involve hosting joint events, sharing resources, or integrating preparedness discussions into existing community gatherings. And we have online resources. Creating and promoting easily accessible online resources such as websites, blogs, or video tutorials can provide individuals with valuable information on overlooked aspects of emergency preparedness. Sharing these resources through social media platforms or collaborating with influencers can enhance their visibility. Community drills and exercises. Conducting community-wide drills and exercises that incorporate these overlooked aspects can help individuals understand their significance and practice their implementation. This hands-on experience can reinforce preparedness measures and raise awareness within the community. By emphasizing the commonly overlooked aspects and implementing targeted awareness campaigns, we can enhance the overall level of emergency preparedness among civilians, making communities more resilient in the face of crises.
Okay, are there any specific groups or populations that are particularly vulnerable in emergencies situations, and how can we address their unique needs and challenges?
Oh, certainly. There are several specific groups or populations that are particularly vulnerable in emergency situations. Addressing their unique needs and challenges is crucial for ensuring their safety and well-being. Some of these groups include elderly populations. The elderly often face physical limitations, chronic health conditions, and reduced mobility, making them more vulnerable during emergencies. Providing them with accessible evacuation plans, priority access to resources, and targeted support through community outreach programs can help address their needs. Children and youth may have difficulty understanding and coping with emergency situations. Special considerations should be made to ensure their physical and emotional safety, including providing age-appropriate information, reunification plans with families, and access to counseling services. Another special population would be people with disabilities. Individuals with disabilities may face challenges related to mobility, communication, and access to essential services during emergencies. Implementing inclusive emergency plans such as accessible evacuation routes, trained staff to assist with specific disabilities, and accessible communication methods can help address their unique needs. A big one is low-income communities. Socioeconomically disadvantaged communities often lack resources and infrastructure to effectively respond to emergencies. It is important to ensure equitable access to emergency services, establish community partnerships, and provide financial assistance to mitigate the impact of emergencies on these populations. Immigrants and refugees. Language barriers, cultural differences, and limited social networks can make immigrants and refugees more vulnerable during emergencies. Outreach efforts that involve community leaders, interpreters, and culturally sensitive communications can help bridge these gaps and ensure their inclusion in emergency preparedness and response plans. Homeless individuals. Homeless individuals face increased vulnerability during emergencies due to lack of shelter, limited access to health care, and social support networks. Collaborating with local shelters, providing temporary housing solutions, and offering support services tailored to their specific needs can help address their challenges during emergencies. Pregnant women. Pregnant women require additional care and support during emergencies to protect the health of their health and the health of their unborn child. Ensuring access to medical facilities, prenatal care, and assistance with evacuation and/or relocation can address their unique needs. To address the needs of vulnerable populations, it is essential to include their perspectives and involve community organizations, advocacy groups, and relevant stakeholders in emergency planning and response efforts. Tailoring emergency plans, communication strategies, and resource allocations to meet their specific requirements can help mitigate the disproportionate impact of emergencies on these groups and promote inclusive and resilience.
Alrighty, so there you have it, folks. Some tips on how to prepare you and yourself and your family for severe weather as a civilian or first responder. Remember, staying informed and having a plan in place can make all the difference when severe weather strikes. Don't be scared, be prepared.
It's time for our pro tip, where we leave you with knowledge from our experience to help you be safe and come home. Today's tip revolves around fire prevention education. Educate your community on fire prevention strategies. Participate in public outreach programs to raise awareness about fire safety and promote proactive measures. Jay?
Fire prevention education is a crucial aspect of promoting fire safety and reducing the risk of fires in the homes, workplace, and communities. Prevention techniques and appropriate responses in the event of a fire emergency. Fire prevention education aims to raise awareness, improve preparedness, and empower individuals to take proactive measures to prevent fires and protect lives and property. Now, some of the key elements of fire prevention education typically include fire hazard awareness. Now, this involves educating people about common fire hazards such as faulty electrical systems, flammable materials, cooking accidents, smoking candles, heating devices, and arson. Understanding potential risks is essential for taking preventative measures. Fire safety measures. Fire prevention education emphasizes the importance of fire safety measures such as installing smoke alarms and fire extinguishers, developing and practicing escape plans, 2 ways out, maintaining clear evacuation routes, and identifying safe meeting places outside the building. Fire extinguisher training. Educating individuals about the proper use of fire extinguishers is a critical component of fire prevention. It includes teaching the different classes of fires, selecting the appropriate extinguisher, and understanding the PASS, which stands for pull, aim, squeeze, sweep, technique of promoting hands-on practice. Evacuation planning. Fire prevention education educates individuals and communities on creating effective evacuation plans tailored to the specific environments. This includes identifying exits, determining escape routes, establishing meeting points, and considering the need of vulnerable populations like children, elderly, and individuals with disabilities. Fire safety in the home. Educating individuals on fire safety practices within their homes is essential. Topics covered may include safe cooking practices, electrical safety, proper storage and disposal of flammable material, responsible use of heating devices, and the importance of keeping pathways clear to aid in evacuation. Fire safety in the workplace. Workplace fire safety education focuses on implementing fire prevention measures, maintaining fire safety equipment, conducting fire drills, training employees on evacuation procedures, and promoting a fire-safe environment through proper storage and handling of hazardous materials. And again, community outreach. Fire prevention education extends to the border community through campaigns, workshops, seminars, public service announcements, and it encourages community involvement, fosters partnerships with local fire departments, and promotes the sharing of fire safety knowledge and resources. and fire safety education for our children. Targeting children with fire safety education helps instill lifelong habits and awareness. Age-appropriate programs teach them about the dangers of fire, how to respond to emergencies, and the importance of reporting hazards to adults. By promoting fire prevention education, individuals and communities become better equipped to prevent fires, respond effectively during emergencies, and minimize the risk of injuries, fatalities, and property damage. Fire safety education is an ongoing process that requires continuous reinforcement and regular updates to keep pace with new technologies and safety practices.
Well, Jay, it goes to prove that fire safety education is working. I mean, because if you're looking at the statistics from just several years ago, what are firefighters now?
We're EMTs that occasionally fight a fire.
Right. The number of fires are drastically going down, which is a good thing. So that's finding other ways to fill the gap besides just fighting fires. So in conclusion, severe weather preparedness is a critical endeavor for both civilians and first responders alike. As we've explored throughout the podcast, understanding the risks associated with severe weather events and taking proactive measures can save lives and minimize devastating impact of such occurrences. By staying informed, having a comprehensive emergency plan, and being equipped with the necessary resources, individuals can effectively protect themselves and their communities in the face of severe weather. Furthermore, for first responders, rigorous training, coordination, and focus on community engagement are essential components in their preparedness efforts. Together, through collective action and a shared commitment to preparedness, we can build resilient communities that are better equipped to face the challenges posed by severe weather events. Remember, preparedness is not a luxury, but a responsibility, and by taking action today, we can safeguard our future and ensure the safety of and well-being of all. Jay, what are your thoughts?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I agree with Chris 110% on what he said. One of the main reasons why we felt it appropriate to do this show tonight is, one, hurricane season is right around the corner. It starts June the 1st. And secondly, there is a tropical system that they're predicting to form in the Atlantic and come ashore at North Carolina, South Carolina this weekend. Now, some of you may already know, but for those of you who don't, it's coming. Do not panic. If you take these tips that we've given you and implement them, if you have to listen to the show again and write them down, please do so. One, it could save a first responder's life, and two, it could save your life. So implement these tips and everybody be safe. Chris?
Hey, Jay. What do you call a firefighter who can't start a fire? A flame retardant.
Oh, dear God. Oh, Lord.
So, tune into our next show where we will ignite your curiosity and join us on a podcast journey that will take you deep into the fiery heart of the Coconut Grove tragedy. Stay tuned for Inferno Unveiled, the Coconut Grove tragedy, our next episode that will leave you burning for more. We wanted to make sure to remind you of our upcoming monthly live show, The Day Room, Host Jockey After Hours. This is an unstructured live show that we discuss whatever comes to mind. We will stream live to our Facebook page, YouTube channel, and now to Twitch. Our viewers are encouraged to participate via chat. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast platform and leave us a review. You've been listening to Host Jockeys Unite. We hope you've enjoyed this episode, and please tell your friends about us. And always remember, even Truckies need love too.